Hi, I'm Deborah Huggard, and this is my instructional materials exhibition on Open Courseware. Open Courseware projects, or OCWs, are free courses, and they're often designed and offered by the best schools in the nation. This is perfect for independent learners, students and teachers alike. Open courseware projects provide high-quality study materials, and they're designed so that students can study at their own pace. This is different from something that many of you have heard of called Massive Open Online Courses, or MOOCs, where it's teacher-led and you're following a program of study that is date-based. Some of the more popular institutions that offer some of these open courses are listed here: Johns Hopkins, Carnegie Mellon. MIT is probably the most famous, and they're the ones that started the whole open courseware movement. Listed here are the top 10 universities with free courses online, and you'll see some of the most well-known institutions: UC Berkeley, MIT, Carnegie Mellon. We have Utah State and Tufts, Johns Hopkins, and as I scroll down this, I'm sure that you'll recognize many of the names. The list of websites at the bottom here include names like Duke and Harvard and Georgetown and Princeton and Stanford and UCLA and Yale. This open courseware has become an extremely popular way of teaching and learning. For teachers, you can learn about a wide range of topics, everything from classroom behavior to using the latest technologies. And so you can use open courseware as a professional development tool. It's not a substitute for real classroom education, but it can provide an invaluable supplement and guide to pursuing your educational interests. As an example, when you Google open courseware for teachers or professional learning, it's very easy to come upon a whole host of sources. Pinterest is really terrific for this. And so there's a group on Pinterest, Free Professional Learning for Educators, and sites including Coursera, EdWeb, Khan Academy, edX. These are all sort of either self-contained courseware or repositories where it links to different courseware offerings. But either way, it's a place that you can go to look for professional learning. In a study done in 2011, published in 2012 in the UK, they looked at the roles of libraries and information professionals in OER initiatives, and this includes open courseware projects. They found some interesting things. I found that it was quite difficult to get a lot of information, especially studies done here in the United States. But one of the things this study found was that they believed that the involvement of the library and librarians in involvement in these OER initiatives was absolutely indispensable, or at the very least, very valuable and helpful. The blue, red, and green section include all of the responses that were positive, and you can see that that's most of this pie chart here. The blue section covers those that believed that the library was an absolutely indispensable tool in initiating and continuing this OER initiative. On future involvement of the library and librarians, I know that there's a lot of controversy, and the sort of traditional librarian is actually going away in many cases. The same study found that people believed that the future involvement of librarians was helpful, 80%. And another 15% felt that they could be helpful. Now, obviously, these roles are changing and becoming less traditional. Some of the results of this study were that it was clear that the role that the libraries and librarians play is needed to build awareness. And they're important advocates for the OER movement. Libraries and librarians are creators and users of this content themselves. They provide training in certain areas as information literacy. Librarians can support OER projects and provide expertise in some of the technologies and activities specific to educational digital content. It's important for librarians to develop this expertise, and that schools that train these librarians, such as ours, are understanding of the OER initiative and the direction that education is going. Some of the benefits of open courseware is that students aren't limited to learning only what's offered at your school by your teachers. These courses are made available by highly credible professors and institutions, as you saw earlier. And open courseware promotes independent learning. It also promotes personal and professional development. And the use of technology as a learning tool is sort of inherent in this type of learning. And one of the best benefits is that it's free. Regarding selection criteria, I believe we need to look at teaching teams, who is teaching the course, content, what is being taught, the teaching conditions to look at whether the interface being used is user-friendly and accessible. And then the teaching methods and practice. Are they current? Do they meet school requirements or initiatives? Instructional design is imperative. Is the design age appropriate, and is it well designed? The instructional outcome is important. We need to decide whether the open courseware has clear instructional outcomes and or published results for reference so that we know what has been done with the material in the past and what kind of instructional outcome has occurred. Also, user evaluation. If there's anything we can look at to see how past users or learners have evaluated this course and what they have gotten out of it, pros and cons, it's a good way for us to decide whether that particular course would be useful to our own students and teachers. Putting open courseware to use in your school. One of the best ways to start is just to have a few portals or repositories available for you to look up some of the open courseware available. So when a teacher or a student comes to you with an interest, you have a place or a few places to look. So some of the best ones that I have seen were OER Commons, which is oercommons.org, Merlot.org, which is multimedia educational resources for learning and online teaching, and MIT's Open Courseware site really is just very good. Virtually all their courses are available online. MIT also has a program called Highlights for High School, and this includes a lot of different things, including high school courses designed by MIT graduate students. And so you can see these in different subjects across the board. I found it really interesting and think it's a great place to look. Like any other library material, find out what your teachers want. Also find out what your students are interested in. Everything from engineering to coding to art can be found in open courseware. Become familiar with a few of the most popular institutions offering open courseware, like those mentioned here, as well as the repositories listed above. Make sure you make links easily accessible and offer suggestions. This is a really large topic. It's quite overwhelming. And so having just a few places to look helps narrow the scope a little bit. Remember, this is a relatively new resource, and media specialists are the natural leaders of choice as advocates for these non-traditional, technologically rich learning experiences.